Hi, my name's Lindy Cowling. Welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk, email info@lindycowling.co.uk. And the title of today's video is The Split Between Twin Flame Union and Twin Flames, in inverted commas. The split between twin flame union and twin flames, in inverted commas. Reason I'm bringing this video out today, it has been brought to my attention by a few people that there is a common misconception going around on the internet and on social media and on YouTube. The definition of what twin flames are, and there is a lot of confusion around it, and there has been a couple of people highlighted to me in particular with particular videos that they've put out saying that you can conjure up a twin flame whenever you like, and then they might recognize you or they might not, and then you conjure the next one up. So I've been asked a lot of questions about this, and rather than take the time and energy to answer individually, I thought this was worth bringing a video out on, because this really links into the split that has been coming for a long time within that so-called twin flame community, which has been building up for a while. And so that's why I decided to bring the video out, not just in answer to other people's questions and in response to what other people are saying on the internet, but also because it's something dear to my heart. And I'd like to explain the definition as I see it and as I have worked that template for a number of years now, coming through from the original old energy of twin flame union, the polarized form of it, right the way through to becoming conscious. So let me explain it in the way that I explain best. The split between twin flame union and, in inverted commas, twin flames. So my definition, and this is, again, there are videos you can track back to on my channel that discuss this, but perhaps not in as much depth. And of course, every week and month that passes, as I go through my expansion, my perspective, it expands and I can explain it better from a different perspective. So there was ones that I brought out from twins to triplets, I think was one a year ago or something like that, along not unsimilar lines, but this is going to be slightly different. So to define, twin flame union is a template that is linked with spirit and soul family, one soul beings that are here, were here, are here for the purpose of cleansing and bringing unconscious polarized material from themselves, from the family, from the bloodlines, up to a fully conscious 0 point neutral state. Which is why the old form of twin flame union template are the ones that have difficulties in getting it into a relationship format with one another, because they are a template. And because when they launch, ignite, fire up in a polarized form of light, dark, hot, cold, etc., etc., you know, that polarized form, an old energy, which means unconscious material, not just from here in their personalities or in the soul as a one soul being now, but in all aspects of the multi-dimensional soul, in all dimensions, in all timelines. They are, let's say, clearing or compensating for or bringing into balance here in this reality, in this awareness now, all of those unconscious, unresolved aspects. And don't forget, old forms of this energy often have extensive history, shall we say, in other lives or in other timelines, or it's simultaneously going on, other aspects of soul that may be largely unconscious, and they are going through the process of coming into a unified 0-point field of consciousness within themselves, becoming fully self-aware, healing all core soul wounds, all that was unconscious, which cannot be done overnight. It is a long process when one comes from unconscious, polarized form of awakening. Twin flame union worldwide, and this I have found virtually no exceptions to this. The old form, I'm going to call it the old form because it's unconscious energy. I come from twin flame union. The old form of twin flame union worldwide plays out to this same kind of frequency, this same kind of pattern, which is why you will get twin flame union, original twin flame union, up in arms and very angry and totally disagreeing when someone says, well, you can get to a state of awareness where you can meet other aspects of same soul and be aware of them and not be triggered, and it's no longer polarized, or other aspects of same consciousness. Now, I'll get into that in a minute. But this is why I said in that video, from twins to triplets, both camps are correct, because it depends on where you're at in your expansion and in your evolution. So, for example, I come from old school twin flame union. I have no desire to try and draw in another polarized form of consciousness. In fact, that would be the last thing I would ever want through the original one or through another one. And so I've chosen to become fully conscious solo, which I have done. Now I'm at a point where I will quite happily connect with a compatible consciousness, or a compatible aspect, a conscious frequency to me. That conscious compatible frequency may have zero to do with twin flame union. The only connection it has is conscious connections are happening because of the work that templates like twin flame union put in, which was a frequency to awaken and transform and alchemize and bring to a 0 point, a conscious state, all that was unconscious, so that conscious connections can start to happen. So when I hear about or see, or people come to me and say that there are people up there in the media or social media almost bragging about the fact that they sit around and then they call up conscious connections to connect with. The reason they're able to do that in the first place is because of twin flame union and other templates like that. Ascension templates that got enough of that unconscious patterning to a conscious platform so that imprinting could happen by people that were wired up to become conscious, that weren't running, let's call it the old energy, just to explain it easier. They imprint on templates such as twin flame union so that they start to happen. So let me backtrack. And as you can hear in my voice, I'm quite passionate about this because I come from both camps. Now, I'm going to describe myself not in a big-headed way, but as in slightly unique in that, because I didn't come from twin flame union and stay entrenched in old energy. I was caught up in it for about 3 years of old energy. I mean, 3 years after I walked away from the original twin flame. I chose to keep going forward, to keep expanding, to become fully conscious. And as I chose to go forward, so things and people began to change around me. Was it difficult? It was as difficult as hell. And it sucked like hell. And there were aspects of it I hated passionately. You know, I'm not going to pull any punches here. It was extremely hard work. But I came to a crossroads, a point within my own soul, where I knew if I didn't get walking forward and going forward, I was going to go round in certain programs that are put on the old form of twin flame union, the unrequited love, the suffering, the black hole beneath it, the disruptor energies beneath it. I knew I had an option there. And either I could go forward and expand the way I was supposed to, come fully into the heart, become fully conscious, and then go on with or without the original twin flame. Because why would I want to be with an unconscious or polarized form of me if I'm no longer unconscious or polarized? I wouldn't. And where you see people come back in with the original twin flame is sometimes it can happen if aspects of a one soul being, and for definition, twin flame union being coming from the same soul. And let me just interject here. There is a difference between people calling them twin flames, which is some people are calling compatible aspects of consciousness a twin flame. That is not a twin flame. That is a compatible aspect of consciousness or a conscious connection or a conscious relationship. It is not necessarily coming from the same soul. And this is a massive, massive difference. A massive difference. And there's huge confusion out there, even from people that are promoting themselves as knowing all about this stuff. People that never came from the polarized form of it or the unconscious form of it, crawled their way through that and then became conscious. These are people that are already, let's say, have an awareness and a consciousness because of twin flame union and similar ascension templates. Twin flame union is not the only one, but it's the one I'm going to be commenting on because I've been wading through that one for nearly 8 years. So the conscious, those in the conscious camp, like I say, will, and it is a camp really, I can see a two-way split coming on. And that's why I say, in a way, I'm in a unique position. Because for a number of years, I was doing the splits myself. had one leg in old school twin flame union and one leg in conscious relationships and full consciousness. And then I had to make a decision, hang on a minute, do I want to be in one or the other? And I knew straight away I want to become fully conscious and not be entrenched with the very negative cycles that do go in the underbelly of the twin flame union. So the differences here are you can have a conscious, compatible connection with somebody, and people will say, well, I can sit around and call in a twin flame. That makes me really cross when I hear people say that, because most of that is bollocks, quite frankly, and that's not going to win me any brownie points saying that. You can attract to you, by basic law of attraction, a compatible connection. You cannot necessarily bring in, unless it was your destiny, unless you're part of that original template, a same soul aspect on demand. Is it possible that you can come across another same soul aspect if you come from old twin flame union? Yes, it is possible. And although I've never met them, there is another aspect of me in India. I'll probably never meet her in this life, but she's teaching. I think she's teaching women in India. Yes, it is possible, but to have the awareness of aspects of your same soul in multiple, I've not come across that yet in all the years I've been doing this work. It's unusual in that form, in that old form. And if you ask me why, it's because really, personally, I think you don't get really ultimate shots, one shot after another, at transitioning from polarized form and unconscious to conscious in that form. In other words, I'm going to repeat this slowly. If you come from old school twin flame union, which is a template, it's one of the ascension templates of making the unconscious conscious, the polarized no longer polarized, the non-zero point field to a 0 point field. If you come from that, In all the time that I've been doing this work, I have come across hardly anyone that then connects with another polarized form of same soul. They can do, or they can be aware of it, but really the way I perceive it and the way I've experienced it and see it in others is that you have a choice when that was your entry point, when that is your entry point. You are automatically putting out a frequency, a service frequency for others to imprint on that template to become conscious. Number one, whatever you're doing, whether you're cleaning toilets, whether you're a janitor, whether you're a healer, a counselor, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's the frequency you're putting out. But number two, you have a choice on a soul level. You either face who you truly are, integrate who you truly are, bring that all through the heart. It does not happen overnight when you're the old, polarized, unconscious form of that energy, which is why original twin flame union connect in the bubble. Then when the bubble bursts, the shit hits the fan, because they go from fully conscious temporarily to totally unconscious again. And then they work their way back from unconscious to conscious when they are in that form. They have a choice. We all had a choice. I had a choice. When you go through that process, which is enormously challenging when you come through that form of it, do you throw in the towel and give up and try to put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 and pretend it hasn't happened? Do you fixate on the other same soul aspect, give up your life, chuck everything in, just wait, and hope that they make the choice on a soul level to also become conscious? Or do you get going, get walking forward and decide you are going to use, let's say, the personal gift side of it, not just the frequency that goes out to help other people awaken and become conscious. I mean the very personal part of it. Do you decide to get going and get walking forward into your own expansion, your own awareness, with the possibility of either connecting back up with the original twin flame from the twin flame union, if they get their act together and also get themselves to become conscious? Or do you still take that route into awakening? I'm going to call it new energy, because really that's my definition for 0 point field and full consciousness. Do you keep walking that way with the possibility of connecting up with another aspect of same soul, just like twin flame union was, that is fully conscious because you've become fully conscious? Or a compatible frequency, a compatible consciousness, a compatible vibration that you are attracting in because you're that vibration? Let me just state again, you can have a compatible connection, a harmonious connection that is as high as, because it's running spiritual energy, as a twin flame, but it's nothing to do with twin flames. The only connection is it's running spiritual energy, and it's probably happening as a result of the work that the original twin flame union did to provide a template that you imprinted on. Does it really matter? It matters a lot to people from that original camp, because it's very insulting, actually, and very disparaging to hear people up there. And I'm going to use the word bragging because I've actually watched this video that was highlighted to me. And this particular person reckons there's no one better than them and they really know their stuff and everything. Looks like they've just crawled out of the womb, quite frankly, and I don't know what experience they have had, but they definitely haven't come through the whole spectrum. So what I'm going to say here again is, by basic law of attraction, we all know this. I mean, the top of the game is Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks. If you haven't watched her work, I don't know anyone any better than her. She's absolutely brilliant, and she channels a higher self or higher consciousness aspects of her that she calls Abraham. She's been around for years, absolutely super. Basic law of attraction, what you're vibrating at, whether it's polarized, non-polarized, conscious, unconscious, self-aware, not self-aware, you have the capacity to attract more of. We all know that. This is basic stuff. There is a clear difference between that's happening in the form of twin flame union and that happening in the form of walking down the street. Because twin flame union, the old polarized unconscious form of that energy, I have never met nor seen nor worked with one person from that trajectory that started out, well, they start out fully conscious in the bubble, fully conscious, remain fully conscious, and they walked forward and it was a breeze. Not one. Worldwide, doesn't matter what country, what culture, not one. Did they all mess it up? No, they didn't mess it up. Did they have stuff in their families and bloodlines, really challenging stuff, maybe stuff in their personalities, very strong core soul wounds? Absolutely. Because original twin flame union nearly all come out of that camp, because otherwise there wouldn't be anything to clean up. There wouldn't be anything to bring into balance and 0 points and neutral points. There wouldn't be anything there. That's why they launch with those characteristics, and that's why they have such a challenging time of it. Not because they messed up, not because they're somehow not as self-aware, which is the kind of implication that I'm hearing from other people. Now you can hear, I'm very passionate about what I'm saying, and I'm a little bit pissy about it actually, because I've seen this kind of arrogance coming across from some, not everybody, but some people on that kind of trajectory. And it's almost like hearing the babies pretend that mummy and daddy weren't anything to do with them being born kind of thing. It's got that, well, I was just born and I don't know how I was born, but, there's this kind of arrogance about it. And it is arrogance, actually, and it's very, very driven by the ego. So I'm going to repeat again, because I have a foot in both camps, but I have chosen on a soul level to keep going forward and to become fully conscious, because that's what's best for me. That's what's best for the work I do. Then I can help people in the old camp, the new camp, in between, transition, alchemize. My eggs aren't all in one basket. And like I say, if you want recommendations from people that have really got their stuff together and that come from that trajectory, that are conscious, again, authenticity process from Australia. I love those guys. I love the way they work energy. They are conscious individuals that are consciously refining the template. They come from that end of the spectrum. They don't come from the old form of the spectrum that I came through and gradually came up to here. They come from that end of the spectrum. So they're a classic example of people that really, well, I like them very much, and they seem to really know their stuff. So I'm going to repeat what I've said again, and I'm aware that I'm coming across quite ranty and ravey and quite passionate. But I do feel quite passionate about this, because this what I'm talking about here is coming to a head in this community. It's been building for a long time. And it isn't really that either camp is wrong. It depends on what state of consciousness you have. And it isn't that one is better than another. They are for different purposes, and they are both interconnected. You don't get the baby without the participation of mummy and daddy. Mummy and daddy being twin flame union, for example, and the baby being the conscious relationships. You don't get one without the other. So I'm going to repeat again from points of definition in here, the split happening within the twin flame community where this is going on is, for definition, twin flame, aspects of same soul, not just compatible consciousness, same soul in two human bodies or more than two human bodies. But usually I don't meet hardly anyone that meets more than one aspect of themselves in the old form of twin flame union, in this original template form. Same aspects of soul. Yes, they can have other aspects of soul, maybe all over the world, maybe at the same time, in other timelines. It's a multidimensional thing. They can be aware of other aspects. Most of them are not aware of other aspects. It's nearly always, and I cannot find one exception to this, with their arrival, they become conscious, only temporarily. That's what Mel from Goldway Twin Flames calls the bubble. Then the consciousness drops to unconscious. Then the cat hits the fan. Then all of the stuff starts coming up, the polarized, the light, the dark, the hot, the cold, the smooth, the bumpy, and so the analogies go on. A polarized form. Why is it a polarized form? Because there is polarization within them, there is polarization within the family, there is polarization within the bloodline. The whole point of a transformation template, a transformation from unconscious to conscious, is to start as unconscious. You can ask me why. Well, it's a point at our evolution that we weren't at. We weren't all conscious. There's only a small percentage of the planet now that's conscious. It will happen. I estimate within the next 5 to 15 years, the majority will be conscious, and some won't be conscious and never will be, and some will leave the planet. It's not going to be across the board. It's a personal choice. But old school twin flame union, the key thing here is aspects of same soul. That is why people from old school twin flame union are extremely resistant to the idea of meeting another, or even entertaining the idea of another aspect of same soul arriving in their life, the possibility of it, the potentiality. And I totally understand why, and I totally get it, because I am from that camp. But my cat's just coming in again because I'm on camera. Stay there, darling. You have then the new, let's say, conscious, more conscious than has been the norm, shall we say, individuals that are more conscious than the original unconscious state of twin flame union. The reason they're more conscious is because twin flame union is mummy and daddy, not the only ascension template here to become unified, to become complete, to become into 0 point neutrality, but they are a key one in terms of human relating. We go to people that are the other end of the spectrum, saying they're fully conscious and they just sit and say, right, it takes me 20 minutes. I'm going to call in another twin flame. I'm going to call in another twin flame. What they're mostly doing there is nothing to do with twin flames. They are calling in a compatible state of consciousness. That, well, ideally should be recognizing that they're a compatible state of consciousness. And if they're not, you've got to ask, well, how are they calling them in then? Because if they call in someone that's still got amnesia, they must have something that they're not seeing or amnesic in themselves. But this camp here that says you can call in twin flames, you can call in by basic law of attraction, compatible frequencies, and they will be compatible compared to what's within you. Am I saying that you cannot become fully conscious and then reunite with an original twin flame from twin flame union? Am I saying you can't become fully conscious and then connect with another same soul aspect of yourself fully conscious? I'm not saying that at all, and I think that's entirely possible. To connect with another aspect of yourself when you're more conscious than you ever were several years ago is entirely possible. The point I'm making here is the majority of what has been fed back to me from other people that have seen this work by someone else is that the inference there is, as they just sit down and they just keep calling in different ones, it takes them about 20 minutes, then they've called another one in, and if that's not suitable, if they don't recognize them, they kick them out, call another one in, and so on and so forth. That is almost not, it's entirely not twin flames at all, and that is compatible conscious connections, conscious relationships, a compatible frequency. You have to get to a certain point in your evolution where you can really even have the need for, or, you know, it's in, say it's in your destiny or format, to connect with another aspect of same soul, the original, traditional, shall we say, or original meaning of twin flame. When you're fully conscious, they're fully conscious, to go on and do something else or for one another's benefit. Can it happen? Yes. Does it happen? Yes. Is it unusual? Highly unusual. Do I see hardly anyone who are saying that they are awake, aware and fully conscious and calling in twin flames, actually calling in a twin flame frequency. No, what I'm seeing them doing is calling in a compatible rate of consciousness, someone that is matching them, mirroring them, which is not a twin flame. If there is not the soul, the same soul component to it, for point of definition, it's not a twin flame. Doesn't mean that a compatible or comparable state of consciousness is less than, because it's still running spiritual energy. It's just not a twin flame. So don't use the word twin flame. Say you're calling in a conscious relationship, a conscious connection. It's this kind of thing that causes massive, massive misery and confusion. It causes massive confusion and misery in people because they know it doesn't resonate with them, and they say this doesn't ring true or this doesn't ring true. And all I can say to you is, God, I'm not an expert on this subject, but I have been down in the trenches working this energy since, well, I've been involved in it since 2010. I have come through all aspects of that consciousness. So I have come the long way round to coming into the heart, becoming unified. I am still a work in progress. Anyone who's genuinely got any kind of integrity about them will tell you they are still a work in progress. And those that think they have all the answers, they've got a lot to learn, and they've got a big fall coming, and that will be part of that two-way split when these kind of like self-prophesizing that's going on here wakes up and, you know, bites them in the arse, quite frankly. So that's all I'm going to say on this subject. And you can hear and see this one is something I'm quite passionate about, you know, quite putting this across quite strongly, because it has annoyed me, quite frankly. And I could have waited a week or two when I wasn't annoyed about it, but I thought, no, I'm going to put it out when I'm annoyed. And I'm going to put it out because it is annoying. You know, it is very annoying when this is a message that is coming through. And like I say, there are aspects of being correct in both camps there, but there are also aspects of being incorrect. And really, you don't have one camp without the other. There's that interconnectedness any more than you have the baby without mummy and daddy's participation somewhere along the line. It's all interconnected. Does it really matter what we call these connections? I guess it doesn't. But a part of my role, when I work with people, they want defined what kind of connection they have and who they're connected with. Now, I'm a natural medium, and I've come from an unconscious medium to a fully conscious one. So I've had a huge transition there. And part of my job is to act rather like a catalyst and rather like a tuning fork in reading and identifying these energies, which I can do quite easily. So I'm not going to tell somebody, because they've seen somebody else's video, that they've conjured up someone that is compatible in attraction, but that has nothing to do with twin flame union. I'm not going to tell them they're twin flame union. I'm going to explain what it is. And if I didn't explain what it was and explain where I was coming from, I wouldn't be able to help them move forwards. I wouldn't be able to help them with their awakening. I wouldn't be doing my job properly. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be acting in any kind of integrity. So on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Again, an unusual video for me in that it's very passionate, but I'm a little bit moany and ranty and ravey in this one. But I just feel it has to be said. You know, I'm a Leo, and it's very unusual for the lion to roar, but the lion's roaring at the moment. Because these inaccuracies and these confusions are causing a lot of suffering and a lot of misery and a lot of confusion. Sorry, it's my cat again. For the people watching them. It's leading them up the garden path again. Okay, you know, what it means then is that, you know, instead of a straightforward route to it, maybe they have to go the long way round. Maybe they have to go the long way round. Not saying there's anything bad or anything, you know, hugely significant here or wrong, but it is inaccurate, and it does need clarification, and it does need defining. And on that note, I will love you and leave you. Thank you, as always, for watching the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for anyone that has donated to this channel. And as always, I will be back on here when I feel it is the right time to come back onto the channel. As I said in the last video, I will be looking at slightly taking things into a direction of more webinars, seminars, teaching, simply because I'm being asked to do that. And I do enjoy doing that. And, you know, maybe even along the seminar route, that kind of thing. It doesn't mean that I won't put free material out. I've been relentless in putting free material out, even long before I came on YouTube. I've been in the arena of working in the light worker industry for 17 years. So all my radio interviews and a huge backlog of work has all been done freely over those years and are still accessible all over the internet. You can find them. Got a ton of stuff on Spirit Guide Network. I will still put the free stuff out as and when I am compelled to do so. But until we meet again, because I don't know when the next one will be out, it might be a week, it might be 2 weeks, it might be 3 weeks, I don't know. I just work very much the way I am compelled to work on the day. I will see you again soon. So take care of yourselves, and thanks for watching. Bye.